for streetlight power, and New York State Power Authority has a program where you purchase your street lights. I'm going to let Kevin obviously expand on this. It kind of got put on the back burner with all this going on. We reached out in November, December, and there was still not a chance of doing live presentations back then. That has since changed a little bit. So Kevin here from the Power Authority to kind of give you an overview of what's happening and just run some numbers without trying to bore you too much.
Great.
You've got 5 minutes.
Thanks for having me.
You can face that way, Kevin. Taking
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for having me, everyone. I'm Kevin Luderin. I'm the program manager of Smart Street Lighting New York, which is a state initiative to help communities become more energy efficient. And the program has a goal to convert 500,000 streetlights to LEDs by 2025. As part of that program, NICA has developed a full turnkey service to help communities with the conversion of their streetlight system. We help with the acquisition of your streetlights from your local utility. Right now, NICEG currently owns and operates your streetlight system, and you pay about $115,000 to $20,000 a year for that service. But when looking at your utility bill, you can see that about 50% of those charges go to what's called facility charges, and that's essentially a lease payment to that street lighting system. The remaining 50% is your energy charges, and that goes to powering your lights themselves. So through the acquisition process, you no longer are responsible for paying that lease payment, and instead you will now be responsible for the continued operation of the street lighting system. And that's where NICA can step in too. And like I mentioned, we offer a full turnkey service, and as part of that, we have an ongoing operations and maintenance program where we can help communities with that ongoing maintenance. But taking a step back a little bit just to talk about the program. So we help with the acquisition of the streetlights from NICEG. We offer design and construction management of the street lighting system itself. So we will work with the community, select fixtures that meet your needs. A lot of times the different colors, and if you want to increase light or illumination in certain areas, we're able to customize the system to really fit exactly what your community needs through that design process. We manage all the procurement of materials and labor on your behalf, and that's kind of one of the ways that communities can work directly with us. And we've been doing this now with over 130 communities across the entire state. So we've definitely developed a pretty efficient system to roll this program out. We help communities save a substantial amount of money, and we're actually able to structure these projects so that they generate a slate project positive cash flow. So instead of paying that $120,000 budget to NICEG every year, you're able to do this entire project under that amount while paying your debt service payments for the conversion and generate a small amount of revenue. So I guess with that, that's kind of the program that NICA can offer. And I shared with the community our project summary page, which really is an estimate and outlines the estimated costs for your particular project. Mechanicville owns or has about 505 streetlights within your community. And like I mentioned, you would be acquiring that streetlight system from NICEG, and through that process, we will help with conversion. And within this project summary page, you can see NICA tries to be as transparent as possible. We list out each of the different construction costs, including the materials and labor for each of these line items. We don't have to go through it line by line, but like I mentioned, we've been doing this a lot. We have statewide bids that we've already locked into place, so this estimate is very accurate. We have material contracts, which we've gone out to a nationwide bid directly to manufacturers to procure street lighting materials, so we're able to get the lowest cost of materials as possible and really put together this comprehensive project for you. The total project cost is at the bottom of this first section is $606,000, and that includes everything that I mentioned. So the materials, the labor to perform the construction, our design services, our project management services, and the cost to acquire the streetlight system from the utility. Looking into the next section, you see your annual savings, and you can tell that your net annual savings is about $81,000. So that includes that energy savings from going from a less efficient, your current fixtures are high pressure sodium, to a more energy efficient LED option. So that's going to reduce your energy consumption. And then on top of that, you have your facility savings. So instead of paying that monthly lease payment to NYSEG, you no longer have to pay that, but instead you will have to pay an attachment fee to attach to their wooden utility poles because they'll continue to own that equipment such it holds the transmission lines to the residents. So there's an attachment fee for that, which we factored into this cost. And then there's also an ongoing maintenance fee, which we factored into this analysis. So we subtracted those costs out from your annual savings, and that's how we came up with the $81,000. Once we factor in some of the rebates that are available through NYSEG's energy efficiency program, it drops the cost down to $573,000 and provides a simple payback of about 7 years. So this is a pretty attractive energy efficiency project the way it is. Then if you choose to use NYPA financing, we take a very conservative approach when it comes to our interest rates. We're carrying 4% in this model, but typically we have been seeing communities at 2.5%, and if you choose to bond the project yourself, you can probably get a little more attractive offer. So this is a conservative estimate. We wanted to make sure that we come in under budget and we don't have to come back and get change orders and things like that. And all together, with financing costs, it will be a 9-year payback, but it will also generate about $8,000 annually in positive cash flow. So that's the project in the whole, and I'll pause there and see if you have any questions.
Kevin, just, can you explain, I know initially, your initial draft of this was 2 different pricings based on 2 different telecom fixtures. One was more of a high-tech fixture.
Yes.
Which one is this? First of all,
Go ahead.
so
this includes what we call asset management controls. And what that is, if you look on your current street lighting system, you'll see this little device on top of it. Right now, that's a photocell, and that controls the light and tells it when to go on and off based on the amount of ambient light. So at dusk and dawn, essentially, it turns your light on and off. We're including asset controllers within this project because it's a requirement to be part of the NYPA maintenance program. These are devices that go into that same plug and same socket, and it's connected to LTE, so similar to your cell phone, to transmit information back to a cloud platform. So the community will have access to a website and essentially see their entire street lighting system on one location in one screen. The benefit of that is this system can tell you when the lights are out. You can also have controllability to raise and lower light levels, so you can dim them at certain times if you choose to reduce the light levels. If there's an issue where one area may be a little overlit, you have that controllability to modify that without actually sending a crew out and replacing that fixture. I mentioned that it's a requirement to have one of these devices installed on every single streetlight because we offer a streamlined digital maintenance service. We have a control center that will be monitoring the street lighting system on your behalf. As lights fail, we'll see that on the software system. We can notify you that a light has failed. We can automatically send work orders to our electrical contractor and have them out in the field quickly to make the repair. It also acts as a system of record. So as we are installing these LED lights, we're also documenting the type of equipment that's installed there. So essentially that's a database of all your light fixtures and equipment. So if you're interested in expanding your system at all, you have that information. And it's really helpful for the maintenance side of things because we can load the truck up with the proper equipment for that specific streetlight and not have to go and send a crew out again. So this proposal here includes that asset management where it says the city touch nodes, asset management, that's where that cost comes from.
because the first one, there were 2 different proposals based on 2 different types of pricing. If in the next couple of months we decide to move forward with this, what's the time frame?
So probably the limiting factor in this whole process is the sale of the streetlight system. So if you want to move forward with this, you would need to request some of the sale and contract agreements from your utility. You would review that. Once you agree to the terms of the contract, you would file what's called a Section 70, and actually the NYSEG would file that on your behalf. That is posted to the Public Service Commission, which has a public comment period, and that typically takes about 8 months. But in parallel, we're developing the design at that point. We're staging materials, we're getting everything ready so that at the point of closing, once your street light sale goes through the formal regulatory process, we're able to begin construction as soon as possible after that. So I would say about,
22, sometime in 22.
yes, yep.
How long does it take to get to total savings of 81,000? How many years?
So that's an annual savings.
Annual?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that after the 9-year payback though?
I'm sorry, what was that?
The annual cash flow is $8,000.
Yeah, so
The annual savings, is that after you pay, how is that arrived at?
So the annual savings is essentially taking that like $120,000 budget you're paying now,
Right.
subtracting out your annual debt service payments of $73,000, and then it also subtracts out the future cost of your facility charges and maintenance service. So that difference is $81,000.
So we're gonna save $81,000 a year.
You will save $81,000, but then you're paying a $73,000 loan.
Right, that's, right. So
And
it's
then,
not a net figure.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
so
so you're,
we're actually gonna pay a loan and get $8,000.
yes.
Okay.
And in 9 years, if you pay it off or whatever.
Yep,
Or
and then
10
so
years.
after year 9, you'll be saving $81,000 in your pocket.
So these streetlights, are we, like, my office does Christmas lighting,
Yeah.
so are we able to hang whatever we want from these streetlights?
So you aren't able to hang whatever you want because you're still attaching to the wooden utility pole.
Okay,
They have, NICEAG will have
Yeah.
limitations on what you can do and can't
Okay.
do.
all right.
But you do have a few freestanding poles that are aluminum and steel, and that you have more flexibility to do.
Okay, so we can tell you where we wanted them,
Wanted,
the freestanding poles?
so we would essentially use the existing infrastructure that's in place. So if you're attached to a wooden pole, we would just replace the luminaire with an LED. But if you did want to add additional streetlights, we're able to do that. But this,
Yeah, I don't think we need any more
Yeah.
streetlights, we have a lot, you know,
And
it's pretty good what we have.
we can reduce that even if.
yeah, oh, yeah, and that, yeah, we can remove streetlights if you choose. And that's where, with the control nodes, you get a little more flexibility. So maybe today, you don't want to overlight an area. We can still put like a higher wattage fixture that will throw out more light. You just dim that down to what you like. And then in the future, if you're like, oh, this area got developed a little more, let's increase that light level. You know, you have that flexibility.
So when the lights are lower, does that save money as well, or it's all the same?
So right now, the way that the regulatory commission bills for streetlights, it's considered unmetered. So typically on a building, you have your utility meter that measures your energy consumption. Streetlights don't use that, and instead you calculate the savings. So by calculating it, you just take the wattage and you can assume how much energy they use every year because it's very predictable.
So how would you know if we lessened them?
So at the moment, there's no tariff in place or billing mechanism for you to capture that savings.
Oh,
But that's something that NIPA and I'm really involved in on the regulatory side is advocating for a future dimming tariff. So although there's not one now, we definitely expect that to come in the future, in the next couple of years. We see more utilities across the country going to that model because there is that additional
Yeah.
savings.
yeah,
And if you're dimming, you should be able to capture that monetary savings.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Dave,
Okay, the city has two types of lighting. We have our own lighting, plus NICEAG has their lighting, okay?
Mhm.
So what are you talking about? You're talking about strictly NICEAG.
Yeah, so,
Okay, so that's not affecting our actual city lighting, okay?
so you would be purchasing the city-owned, you would be purchasing NICEAG's lighting system. So then it would be owned by Mechanicville.
But we have our own lighting system, independent from NICEAG. It's on meter, okay?
Mhm.
These decorative poles that you see around, that belongs to the city. That doesn't belong to NICEAG.
Okay, so,
Okay, so I questioned your 500 lights. If you included them in there, that's not part of the NICEAG's. You understand? Those are metered lights.
yeah, so I'm
Okay.
following along.
Okay,
So,
so I don't know how you got if you took the total of all the lighting, 500, that means you included ours. So that your estimate of counting that down is way off because it's not actually NICEAG lighting.
Yeah,
It's
and
the
so,
city lighting.
yep, and so typically when we work with communities and they own some of their own equipment, as a group relamp, we would also upgrade your existing lighting to LED technology and include those asset controllers so that it all can fall within our maintenance program in the future. So again, we have the benefit and economies of scale of rolling out a crew now to upgrade the NICEAG lighting. It's also more advantageous to upgrade your lighting too at that time and take advantage of our preferred material pricing and labor contracts.
And I think that a lot more information is needed, more put out there in sheets so we can read that, because there's a lot of stuff in here that's vague. You're talking about lighting. My experience with lighting is if you dim a light, that means a resistor or something has to take up the heat. So you're still using the same amount of energy whether the light's bright or dim.
So
It's
with,
just like a house, when you dim your lights, it's still using 100 watts. Regardless of whether you dim the light or not, it's still using 100 watts.
so with the LEDs, it's all controlled through a LED driver. And actually, when you dim the lights, you are reducing the load on the equipment and the stress on the equipment. And it's been shown that you can actually extend the life of that light fixture too. So it is a little bit of a benefit when you are dimming. So that with the LED fixtures, you do see an energy reduction.
Okay, well,
And I can share
understand the LED versus the sodium, okay?
Mhm.
I'm talking about when you're dimming the LCD, okay? If it's 100 watts and you dim it to 80 watts, where's the 20 watts? How are you reducing the 20 watts? You're reducing it through resistor.
I'm not exactly sure of the function,
So-
but it's done through the driver, and I'm not sure. It's not a resistor because you can measure the energy consumption that it is reduced by dimming your streetlights.
I'd like to see a spec sheet myself.
Yeah, absolutely. We can share cut sheets for that.
Go ahead.
Thank you. When you were saying that with the asset management feature that you can see the light goes out and send a crew, so who pays for the repair and then replacement, whatever you have to put in there? Is that factored into the payment that they make every year?
Yes.
Okay, and then you're also, if I understand this correctly, we would never get rid of the attachment fee or ongoing maintenance fee that we'd have to pay to NICEAG every single year, regardless if we did this or not? Is that correct, or am I misunderstanding that?
Can you say that one more time?
Sure. You were saying that we still have to pay an attachment fee to NICEAG and ongoing maintenance costs to NICEAG. So my question is, even if we went with this, we would still have that from now until the end of time. Is that what you're saying?
So right now, you do not pay an attachment fee.
Okay.
But because you purchased the street lighting system and you own that equipment and you're attaching to NICEAG's equipment, they would charge you an attachment fee. It's about $20 a year per location.
Okay.
Then for the ongoing maintenance, you don't pay NICEAG that. You would contract either a third party, or if you choose to use the NIPA service, you would contract directly with us. Our maintenance contract costs about $21 per fixture per year, and that's factored into the annual savings. So that is factored in. The ongoing attachment fee and maintenance is factored into this
So it's
project.
factored in, but that maintenance fee is not included to the figure you're giving to them that we have to pay for 9 years, correct? And it would be, and after the fact, after the 9 years, what would the cost still be that we'd have to pay you?
It would be around the $21 a fixture per year. And yes, you would have to pay maintenance costs indefinitely, unless you choose to maybe bring it in-house or go to a third party, because NICEAG will not be performing work on your system.
Okay, I'm not sure who can answer this question. So right now we have NICEAG, so if they have to come to fix light, do they charge us additional? Does anyone know, or is that included
No, so that's included in your monthly bill.
in our monthly NICEAG bill?
So, and just to do the comparison, so based on the utility bill and information I have, you are paying $134,000 a year for your street lighting account. That includes the electricity and what I call facility charges. That's to lease the equipment, and then that's also for NICEAG to perform the repairs on your system.
Okay, so,
Going through our program, purchasing the streetlights, converting to LEDs, contracting with NIPA, your new annual cost would be about $52,000.
okay, and I'm sorry, did you give me a figure also? So after the debt service thing paid for 9 years, then what would they have to pay you guys every year? Whether they, let's say they went with maintenance somewhere else, what would they have to pay you guys after that? Nothing?
Nothing.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we just wanted to carry the maintenance for the life of the project, but that will be a cost.
Okay, you're with New York State Power Authority?
Yep.
And NICEAG is a provider? And
NYSEG-
so what does the Power Authority fall under? Like what exactly?
So the Power Authority is a state agency, and we are separate from what's called an investor-owned utility. So NYSEG is an investor-owned utility in New York State, and so we are completely separate entities. The New York Power Authority has a division called Clean Energy Solutions, where we help communities with various sustainable efforts. We have different programs such as, so Smart Street Lighting New York is one. We have Evolve to help promote electric vehicle charging stations. We provide energy audits and a host of other things that we help make communities more sustainable.
Okay. And you said with the maintenance contract, as long as we're under that contract, it would be your people that come to maintain our lights.
Yes.
Until the city so chooses not to have that contract any longer. And then you said they could either do it in-house or they could hire a third party. Let's say they did that. Would they ever be able to re-enter into a maintenance contract with you?
Yes, I don't see why not. So one of the requirements to be part of our maintenance program is we have to complete the conversion of the streetlights themselves. So if you selected us, chose another contractor, and then in the future wanted to come back, I don't see a problem with that, as long as you have the asset controllers installed on all your streetlights, because that's the foundation of our maintenance.
Okay, and when you say go in-house or to a third party, what type of technical ability would be needed in order to maintain these lights?
You need to use certified linesmen to perform work on the street lighting system. And
So a regular certified electrician wouldn't hack it?
No, because you're working close to the primary lines, and you have to have special licensing and certifications.
Okay, so they would have to basically have they'd have to hire special technicians to be on the city payroll in order to maintain these lights? Okay. All right, that's it, thank you.
Anybody else have a question? Brandon?
I just got a question about that. You said there's 130 communities that have already changed.
Yep.
Now, is that list available to us? If somebody wants to take the initiative to maybe call to random places and see if they're happy with this?
I could give you a list of references if that's something you'd be interested in.
All right. If you could give that to Mark's office.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to name a couple, we're working with several communities within Albany County. They're not quite in the construction phase yet, but they're in the design phase right now. Voorheesville, Colony. We are working with the city of Albany right now. They're almost done with construction, just to name a few, but I can share that
There's a
list.
consortium out there, isn't there, with Colony and Voorheesville and so on?
Yeah, so we call it the Albany County Aggregation, and we pulled together about 6 or 7 communities in that area, again, to try to get some economies of scale. Because we have so much work in the area, we're actually able to leverage that contract and that labor rate for your contract. So you're benefiting from that as well.
So do you to our benefit to reach out to other communities, in our general vicinity to do the same thing, or are we reaping the benefits of what they have?
No, it's already been established, and we have labor pricing locked in. So we don't think it would change at all at this point if you were to pull together more communities.
Anybody else have a question? I know that. I'm seeing if anybody else does first. All right, Dave.
Okay, you restated again, that this is, everything you're talking about is on NYSEG lighting. That hasn't, which is, city lighting is independent from the NYSEG. Okay, so you said we're gonna get benefits on the city lighting. I don't understand when you're talking NYSEG, which is one set of lights. City lights are a different set of lights. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't know, it sounds like almost, well, it's all good. The savings is there, but it sounds like if you go start changing ours, that's an extra, because that's not NYSEG lighting.
So even though you own that lighting, you're still being billed by NYSEG for that energy usage.
Our lights are billed on a meter.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? So it's
Yep.
independent from NYSEG.
So I would have to go back and look through this analysis to see if that was included in this, if it was
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
billed on a separate account. I'd have to double check that, but that's
Yes.
something I can follow up with. And, if it is not in this analysis, that's something we can include, so then we're doing all of your lights are converted to LEDs.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Is there one more question?
I just have one follow-up, thank you so much. I just want to make sure I understand this after listening on what you said. So the price you gave them does not include maintenance, that would be an extra fee, and you're saying it's $21 per light per year?
So the maintenance is included because we're showing a net savings. So we are showing your facility savings and your energy savings, and then subtracting out the cost for the pole attachment and for the maintenance. So by doing that, you're factoring in the cost of maintenance in this proposal.
Okay.
So just for round numbers, you're saving $100 in energy and facility, but you have to pay $10 for your attachment fee and $10 for ongoing maintenance. So instead of saying you're saving $100, in this analysis, we're only saying you're saving $80. Because
But when I asked you about the maintenance, you said we could go with you or we could go with someone else. And I believe you said the cost if we went with you guys was $21 per light, which would be $10,500 for 5 lights.
yeah,
That's factored in your numbers.
yes. So that's factored in like the net savings analysis. So even if you went with a third party, you'd still have to pay them something, right?
Well,
So
absolutely.
so we would just, assume $20 a fixture. And so it's still factored in here. It's still going to be a cost.
But it's not spelled out though. Is it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not looking at what you guys are looking at. It's a little more difficult to sit here and listen and not have something in front of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Should we go to commissioner report?
Kevin, thank you very much. You're excused.
First one is my office. I don't have anything to report for myself, except that, and I'm sure Barb's gonna talk more about it, we're gonna be opening up the playgrounds in the senior center. But the chief of police isn't here tonight. He asked me to read his numbers for the month. And they are, his calls to service were 386, arrests were 20, and tickets were 80. So Gina will attach that. Go ahead.
The only thing I really have is we're in the process of preparing the water billing for May 1st. The bills will go out on or before May 1st. There's no grace period this year, so they'll be due on May 30th. And that's all I have today.
Commissioner McGuire.
Okay. I just want to say thank you to Mechanicville Fire Department. They took us around so the Easter Bunny could go to various locations throughout the city and take pictures with the kids and give them a little grab bag. And I wanted to, Mechanicville Fire Department always helps me with almost everything I do in the community. And I had a lot of help. Kid John helped, Kid Noonan helped, my daughter Madison helped, and I just wanted to say thank you to all of them. And I did talk to Mark this morning. We're really going to try and get the sidewalk program back going. He said we had some money coming in, but I don't know, like $130,000. And we could possibly use that money to loan out to people, either no interest or low interest, so that you could have your sidewalks replaced. If you walk around town, some of the sidewalks are really bad. And, maybe this would give people an opportunity to get their sidewalks replaced at a lower cost. And, if somebody falls on your sidewalk because you have raised cement, you could possibly have a lawsuit. And it's just, it's just not good to have bad sidewalks. So we're going to try to get that going, and hopefully people will take advantage of it. And I wanted to talk about the playground, the opening of the playground. I do have kids that we're going to hire tonight that are going to work the playground as soon as this weekend. We might even have the playground open for Friday. Tomorrow it's supposed to rain, and there'll be numerous things I'll have to do tomorrow to get the playground ready for Friday. So even in the rain, we're going to work and get the playground ready. The bathrooms will not be open, though, until the summer program comes in, and because I can't have somebody at the gate taking people's names and sanitizing the equipment and then making sure the bathrooms are clean. It's just too much for one person to do. So we're not going to open up the bathrooms until summertime, when I have a lot more staff. So you'll have to come in one gate. There'll be write your name down for contact tracing, take your temperature. We'll have hand sanitizer, we'll have masks if you don't have one. And our staff will go around as often as they can and try to sanitize the equipment. It's not going to be an easy task to do that. So some of this responsibility for keeping your kids safe is going to have to fall on parents. Either, be there with your kids or, teach them to come get hand sanitizer and do the best they can. Okay, so, and social distance, as much as possible. It's not going to be easy, but we're like to be together and all this. So we're just going to do the best we can. If what we're doing isn't working, we'll change it and make it better. So Friday I'm going to try to have somebody there. Saturday and Sunday, definitely have somebody there from around 9:30 to 8 o'clock at night. If 8 o'clock, if 7 o'clock comes and nobody's in the playground, maybe they'll just close. So it'll depend on if the kids are there or not. But I would ask people that when the staff says it's time to go, that you talk to your kids and tell them when they say it's time to go, it's time to go. I don't want these kids working for me taking, a lot of guff from kids to say, I'm not leaving, you can't make me, this, that, and the other thing. Hopefully everybody will be on their best behavior, we won't have any problems, but if they have to call the police to assist them, they'll have to call them. So, we're gonna play it by ear, hoping for the best, and what problems arise, we'll correct as we go along, if we have any problems. I don't really foresee any problems, but, and the senior center is a little bit more involved than the playground. I don't know, you want me to read all this, there's a lot involved.
The playground include the tennis courts? Or
Yeah, the basketball courts, yes.
Fred, need to wait till it's time for.
I don't know the time right now, I forgot.
Okay.
Yes, it does include the basketball courts.
Thank you.
So, the senior center, I'm gonna put it out there on Facebook, and I'll give some to Tom, I'll give my list to Tom as to what we wanna do, so we can put it in the Express. We're gonna have to have a desk set up here, people come in, they're gonna have to hand sanitize. You're gonna have to call and pre-register to play a game. So we know how many people we have the correct seating, we have the correct distance. We also have a room back there, so I don't see it being any problem for them to play bingo or Wii bowling, for the knitting club. We have enough room to them to social distance in here, and we should be able to accommodate anybody coming in. We're going to try and sanitize the bathrooms very frequently, one person in the bathroom at a time, so that we don't have people crossing in front of each other, asking them to wear masks. We're going to put posters on the front door about protocol and social distancing. Can't linger around here. You can come in and play your game. You can wear masks coming in until you get to your table or where you're sitting. And just like in restaurants, as soon as you get to somewhere where you're sitting, they let you take your mask off. There'll be screening questions, a temperature check. Let's see, what else do I have here? There won't be any coffee, any drinks, anything like that. If you want to bring your own drink in or bring your own food in, that's fine, but we don't want you sharing. Let's see. For the books and the puzzles, we'll have a separate place for you to put a book maybe you took and read, and we'll put it off in the corner and we'll quarantine it for 4 days. That's usually what people do now. Puzzles and books, they quarantine them for 4 days. That's about it. So we're hoping to get this started as early as next week, but I gotta have people, I have to get it out there and have people have time to read it and know what they have to do and get reorganized here. Because we had a lot of programs that went on here. And hopefully Weight Watchers can come back, and Tai Chi and sequence. They play a lot of sequence. So that's the hope, but I will put everything on Facebook and as many places as I could put it, so everybody knows what's expected and how it's gonna be handled. And I would assume that 90% of anybody, of the people coming into the senior center have most likely been vaccinated. I would think a very few people have been vaccinated, so I think it's a pretty safe time to re-enter the programs here. So.
And the park, Barb, I don't know if you did anything on that, but the park will be reopening. That does not mean Family Day. That will be too difficult to control. But I know you had asked before about the music that plays in the park and stuff.
Yeah, the bands in the park.
Right, that will be able to start, social distancing and all that will come into play. But we're gonna try and get these things open and see what happens, that's all. All right, Mark, public comment. As you know, stand up where you are, say your name, say you get 5 minutes, give us your address, and we can go. Who wants to go first? Yes, sir.
Hello, James Corrigan, 54 South Main Street. I have two questions and one concern. I'll start out with my concern. I have a safety concern for Harris Ave going up the cemetery. There is no guardrail protecting in the event that there is an accident or someone slides off the road in bad weather. And being that there's children and people right there at Dennis Moore Homes, I'd like to see the city look into putting a guardrail up. Right now, there's those cement poles that were put up 80 years ago that are not effective to stop any kind of vehicle. I'm just concerned that, bad weather, someone slides off the road, they roll their car off that hill, or somebody can be killed playing, sitting there by the projects. So I'd like to see the city
Along the road.
going up the hill there, you got the projects here, you're going up the cemetery.
On the left side.
Yes. And I just always had a concern of, being a fireman and EMP, that's a safety concern I have for the community. The questions I have, excuse me, I've heard rumors that the city has received COVID-19 relief money of some type. It's a rumor.
Rumor is right.
It's a rumor.
We haven't got any-
We-
I just want to expel the rumor because, rumors are like wildfire mechanical. So I just want to get it from the horse's mouth.
No, wait, let me just, we've been, through the media, there was an article in the paper saying under new COVID rule, we're gonna get, it said $550,000 in the paper. We've been in touch with Congressman Taco's office on a couple of occasions. We've had video conferences with him and telephone calls. And the rules are right now still being developed in Washington. So if and when we get that money, I'm not sure if it's gonna come all in one sum. I'm not sure if it's gonna come over 2 years. They haven't even figured that out yet.
How would that be handled in budget as it's not in
Well, there's gonna be rules on what you can use it for.
all right, because I know you budget your expenses, you budget your income, so if it's not budgeted,
Right.
I was just curious.
Well, we just make it, if we get the money in due time and decide to do a project with it or whatever the rules say we can use it for, we would just amend the budget, add a revenue, add an expense, and it'd just be a wash, but,
So there is potential the city could receive
Yes.
COVID-19 relief?
yeah, I think we're gonna receive COVID-19, the amount, I'll believe it when I see it, but there are gonna be rules attached. I know one thing, you cannot lower taxes with it, that's,
No, I'm going to expect.
no, that's a rule. That's a rule, that's nothing,
Yeah.
I'm not talking about it here, you can't do that. A lot of it is COVID relief, perhaps reimbursements or projects that would handle like air quality, things along those lines, in facilities. And I know there's a component used for infrastructure as well. The exact numbers, I'm not 100% sure at, but it'd be nice to get it.
Thanks, Tim. Next? Yes, ma'am.
So I gave Barb a copy.
Yeah, your name, please.
Oh, sorry, Amanda Landy, 44 Underwood Ave.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank all of you guys for your hard work, and in particular Barb for really striving to get the parks and playgrounds open. As a parent and as an educator myself, I know the importance of play with kids, of getting them out, getting them social, the mental health toll that the COVID virus has had on all of us is crazy, and then you throw that onto regular childhood development and they just need to be social. I hear Barb's concerns about, making sure that Mayor Baker, we're following what you would like to make sure that we're safe in the parks and that we have all those temperature checks and kids are separated and socially distancing. And I can tell you firsthand from working at a local middle school and seeing my own kids, they're just phenomenal. The kids have really taken this with stride, and they're a lot of times better than the adults at following the rules. So as a parent, I am so grateful for everything you guys have done. I know some of you are on Facebook, others are not. I was away for April break, and I just felt bad hearing all these kids that wanted to go to the playground. So I reached out on Facebook. I started through change.org, a petition asking residents of the city of Mechanicville, and then there were some grandparents and other folks from local communities that also signed. We ended up with 591 signatures of people who felt a value of opening our playgrounds up for our kids and our families. So I gave each of you a copy of that. There's also comments in the back of certain families that left comments about how important it is for them to open the playgrounds and the parks. That's really all I have, but I just am really grateful. And the kids I would have brought a herd of kids, but I got stuck on vacation for 2 extra days. So I don't have anyone with me, but on behalf of the kids in the community too, they're really thankful that you guys are taking these steps to give them a place to play.
Good.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda.
Next.
John Mahoney, the Express. Going back to the COVID money, do we have any idea when we're even going to get it?
I received some communication from Congressman Tonko's office today, and again, it's still being developed. It sounds like we may be getting half this year and half next year. It sounds like. That's all I can tell you. I mean, and again, there's a bunch of rules that are, and they're still, it's going through, I believe, the Department of Treasury now, at the federal level, you know, and they're in the process of just developing the rules and making, like I said, I know you can't use it to reduce taxes. I know there's some COVID-related things, expenses and things you can pay, and I know there's infrastructure work to be done in there. But beyond that, I don't know the specifics. And I think it depends on the size of your community as well. I think this is for the aid that we're looking at are for communities under 50,000. So as we get information, we'll share it, but we don't have any information. Other than that, I haven't heard a lot. And we've asked.
Okay, and the other question I have is for the parks. They could open probably Friday. Is that what we're looking at? The senior center is probably sometime next week.
Right.
I'm not too sure.
Right. It would be next week, but I couldn't tell you what day.
And there's no beverages, and I take it no food either.
No, I mean, you can bring in whatever you want,
Right.
but we're not gonna have anything here, and you can't share your food.
Right.
Okay, once again, they've got to be 6 feet apart, 3 feet apart,
6 right
Well,
now, but we're hoping for
6.
3.
Yeah,
6.
we have all marked on 6, so it'll be easy to put people where they have to be.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Next. Put your hand up. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. There's no budget sheet attached to this agenda,
No.
No, there's not.
okay? Number one, why is there so much equipment being sold? I mean, they had a function to begin with, and that function can't be eliminated. I mean, I just can't understand. There are 7 pieces of equipment being sold, so that means it's not being done anymore. So what's going to replace this equipment?
I don't have a clue what you're talking about. What equipment is being used or isn't?
Well, you have 3 lawnmowers,
They're old and they don't work.
and they don't work.
They don't work.
For $250, and they don't work? They're being sold for that?
Yeah, they are.
So that's a fallacy right there. Nobody buy a junk lawnmower.
They know they don't work. They know there's a thing wrong with them.
Hey, you want to look at the price? Look at the teeter-totter.
Okay,
That's the one that surprised me.
Something's going on here.
Yeah.
Nothing's going on here. Sick of hearing that crap. Nonsense.
Where did the funds go for the sale of the equipment and the properties? Are they gonna be put on the note to pay down the backhoe?
No, the funds are going into the general fund.
Well, why did you put it in general fund when it'd be, save the interest and pay down the note on the
We're
backhoe?
paying 1.8% interest on the backhoe. I mean, if we put it in the bank, it's almost the same. At the amount we,
If that's the percentage you wouldn't have to pay if you paid it down.
Dave, you only got a minute and a half, you might want to move on.
Okay. And why is the Madge Park being cleaned up? Is it because of the elections coming up?
I don't know.
I have no clue. It's not
You
my
have no
department.
clue?
It's not my department.
I don't either.
Not your department. Okay, more clarification needs to be done on this lighting. There's a lot of vagueness in here. Okay? When he's quoted on 500 lights, there's ours and NICE's. There's two separate entities here. Okay? Let's see. Okay, that's it. You got it? Those are my answers.
Thanks, David.
No answers?
Not tonight. Thanks, David.
Kim?
Oh, just stay here, right?
Yeah.
Kim Dunn, 250 South Main Street. So I sent an email earlier, which Mark was nice enough to get back to me very quickly, and unfortunately, you couldn't answer all my questions, and some of them are DPW. I know Anthony's not here for the second evening in a row, but I'm going to state my questions in hopes that maybe someone else might be able to answer them, or maybe we can get him to answer them. So I've been trying to find out what's the city's policy, process, procedures regarding disposal of items since it has clearly changed since December of 2017. I know we now have falls for cleanup where residents can drop off items at DPW during designated dates and times and pay a fee for that. I'm trying to find out what can be dropped off at times other than those specific cleanup dates, not including brush. I understand that gets picked up usually. Does DPW pick up any items other than brush for residents? Can someone bring over items such as couches, toilets, etc.? If so, what is the process and is there a fee? I'm also wondering what is happening to $200,000 that we saved from the trash recycling by not doing the curbside pickup. Did that lower the yearly contract cost that is currently good through this year? At the November 27 meeting, that question came up when a resident came up and asked, and Commissioner Gotti stated that it saved $200,000. So I'm wondering where that money is and how that's helped with the garbage contract or offset anything else. I was also asking about Towner's Park. If you've been over there, you notice that one backside of the whole hill, the trees are coming down and brush and everything. So I was just curious, it almost looks like they're making a little path, but I'm not sure.
The path was there. You just didn't see it before.
Oh, the dirt path was there before?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was just wondering what's going on with that, if there was a problem or whatever. And also, in doing this work, there's a lot of debris in the road. It's an issue for children and adults that are walking, biking, rollerblading, etc. And it was certainly a liability for the city, so they need to do a better job of getting that stuff off. I mean, I understand it's a big project, but they've got to get that stuff off the road because it is going to end, someone's going to get hurt, twist an ankle, fall, foot, whatever. And I hate to see that happen. So my last question is that hopefully you guys can answer, which not going to be DPW. I'm wondering what the purpose and benefit is of continuing to declare a state of emergency. I understand in the beginning why it was so necessary, everything in the every 5-day executive orders. But I'm wondering what we get from that. Does it get us funding? Does it get us some protection or benefit or whatever? And what is the plan for the discontinuation of these state of emergency and emergency orders? And then my last question, back to the city garbage contract. When is the city going to start the process for trash recycling contracts per resolution number 5417, which was passed by the council on 9/6/17? The contract with county waste runs from 1/1/19 through 12/31/21 for a total cost of $924,480.
We'll start the bidding process probably in June,
June?
June or July.
And how will that be done? Like, would you contact those National Bridges? So would you send something out to them asking them?
Yeah, obviously we will be publicly, we'll have to advertise publicly. It'll be put on Contract Reporter, which is picked up a lot by the various agencies that, deal with these various companies. And, we'll get the word out, that's for sure. Because I'm hoping it's going to be competitive this year.
Yeah, we had a good time in the last.
Well, last time, as I recall, because I was kind of here part-time in 17, we did it way too early, number one. But number two is, I think we had two bids. One was almost $1 million more than the other one. And, it was kind of foolish. But my gut is, I have no idea, but I think it's going to be some competition this time
I
around.
hope so, that'd be great.
All I do is drive around and see Twin Bridges, so they must be looking for business.
Yeah. And then can someone answer the question about
On
this?
the emergency orders, they'll be amended, but they won't go away for a while.
Right, but what is the benefit? I don't know if that's something that Lee can help us with.
Glenn, you want to answer that?
So there's a lot of federal funding, as we talked about earlier, that's tied to the COVID, and the emergency orders have to be in effect typically for you to apply for that type of funding, separate and apart from what Commissioner Sieber was talking about. But there are programs where you can seek reimbursement for any expenses that you incurred while under an emergency order. So if you stop having the emergency order, you're no longer eligible for those
But you
benefits.
can have the state of emergency without having an emergency order, right? Because the emergency order
Correct.
shut down. And so have we applied for anything and
Yeah,
gotten?
we have an application into FEMA right now to reimburse. Well, the original was around 18 or 19,000. They took some stuff out. So it's probably in the $14,000 range, and we're just waiting for an answer from
And is that
FEMA.
just for stuff like the mask?
Yes,
and things
yeah.
like-
Particularly early on, when we had a large amount of expense on those
The
types of
fit-ups,
things.
Like everything, to the shields,
Right.
everything that.
So it
has
must
to
be
do-
reimbursement if we got it basically.
Correct.
Yeah, it is. It's
Okay.
reimbursement. But we have an application in right now. It's sitting in FEMA, and hopefully we'll hear something soon.
Okay, thank you.
Next, Mary Lou?
Mary Lou Segula, 28 East Street. I wanted to start by asking about the charter committee. Has there been any status movement or anything on that?
The charter review committee.
Yeah, or change of government charter committee or anything?
Nothing on that.
Okay, are you still looking to get it on the November ballot?
No,
No?
it couldn't. You don't have time to do it.
Okay, all right. The other thing I wanted to bring up is, there seems to be a big difficulty getting sometimes emails answered from commissioners. Mark and I communicate regularly. He may not always like my answer or my questions. I may not always like his.
Well, I know you don't like my answers.
But we always communicate. I mean, I always get an answer from Mark. Barb's always typing in. Commissioner Johnson, of course, I haven't had to email him yet, so I exclude him from all
I'll
this.
give you his
But-
address.
What's that?
I'll give you his address.
Okay, I got it, don't worry. The big thing was, after last month's meeting, Commissioner Gotti wasn't here. I wasn't able to address a few things with him. I sent him an email the day after the meeting. I sent him a follow-up the week after that, and a follow-up the week after that. I included the mayor, saying perhaps he's not getting my emails, asked you to put a hard copy to him if you could. I still haven't heard from him. Now again, he's again not here this month. I have questions. So, I mean, how do we go about getting questions answered when people don't answer residents' emails?
Part of that has to do with the initiative to redo the form of government, because he's a separate and distinct elected official who none of the other elected officials have any control over.
Well, doesn't it say in our charter, can't the mayor compel a commissioner to attend the city council meetings?
That's not your question. Your question was answer questions.
Okay, but can you compel their presence at a city council meeting? I guess I'll divert a little bit from
I
that.
have to look at that to
Okay.
see, but
All right, so basically it's on him. So I should,
yeah,
it's
that's
all
why
on
he's
him.
elected by the residents, because they chose him and then he's responding, which is again, one of the concerns of the current form of government, because there is no actual supervision unless
Okay.
the entire board decides to remove them after a public hearing.
Okay, but I mean, given the commissioner form of government, we certainly, within our charter, allot them the power to have say over each other. We don't necessarily have to change what we do, but can we put that in the charter?
No, they're separately elected individuals.
Okay. All right, so that could be governed by the charter.
Okay,
Oops.
governed by the
I just
charter.
flew by, sorry.
That's okay. Let me answer it this way. If you change your charter to change your form of government, then yes,
Okay.
you could.
Okay. Well, just, the communication seems to be a big issue. I mean, I certainly, if you contact me, I will contact you back. It just, I guess it should be known that Commissioner Gotti, besides not hearing, is not answering either, so.
He doesn't answer my emails either.
Okay. Maybe, do I have to file a Article 78 for it, maybe? I don't know.
For what? Not,
No, I was being facetious. The other thing was, DPW is a city building, and it's been, with the Civil Service Commission mentioned that they weren't having their meetings there because it was closed. I've been in the DPW building a number of times over the past month or so. It's not closed. You walk in, you have your mask, you sign in, you speak to who you have to speak to, and you leave. Any reason why they couldn't have their meetings here, Barb, in the senior
It's okay
center?
with me.
So that
People do it.
So I guess I'm a little confused as to why they indicated it was closed, but technically I don't really think it's closed. Is there some way to clarify that?
I think they're closing it for larger gatherings. You know, if someone comes in individually, it seems to be okay, but for a group, for example, I don't think the planning board meets up there anymore, do they?
No.
I mean, where's the
Yeah,
planning
welcome
board?
to me
Here.
here.
Oh, they meet here? Oh, okay. I think that's gonna be it, because I can't get my questions answered, and I don't know if you'd be able to answer them or not, Mayor, or if you stand in for him.
No, I will work over there, but I'm not answering questions for him.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yep. Next. Nobody? All right, Mark.
Okay, resolution 2021, whereas the police department is in need of a part-time officer, and whereas Stephen Grassman is a certified police officer who has experience in the field and is willing to start immediately. Now therefore be resolved that the mayor is authorized to hire Stephen Grassman as a part-time police officer at $20.60 per hour, effective April 16th, 2021.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Barb.
Mayor Baker, Commissioner Seaver, yes. Commissioner McGuire.
Yes.
Resolution 2121, whereas police officer John Shockey had submitted a letter of resignation to the chief of police, and whereas Officer Shockey's resignation will take place on March 16, 2021, whereas the officer Shockey has served the city of Mechanicville with dedication and distinction, now therefore be resolved that the city council of the city of Mechanicville accepts the resignation letter from Officer Shockey and thanks him for his service to the residents of Mechanicville.
Make that motion.
Second.
Barb.
Mayor Baker, Commissioner Seaver, yes. Commissioner McGuire.
Yes.
Resolution 2221, whereas the city of Mechanicville placed at auction 8 surplus items, and whereas the items were on the international auction site for a period of 14 days, whereas the high bids were as followed and listed here. Now therefore resolved that the Mechanicville City Council approves the sale of the above items at the bid prices. I'll introduce.
I'll second.
Go ahead.
Barb, right?
Yep.
Mayor Baker.
Yes.
Commissioner Seaver, yes. Commissioner McGuire.
Yes.
And this total sale is $17,140. With the 2 sales, we're now over $50,000 in items that we no longer need. Whereas the city of Mechanicville received recommendations from the accounting firm of Cusack & Company, whom the city retained to conduct an audit of the city's financial records for the year 2019. And whereas as a result of those recommendations, the city council wishes to close several bank accounts that are currently active but not been used for many years. Now therefore be resolved, the Mechanicville City Council authorizes the transfer of $167,176.84 currently residing in 4 TD Bank accounts that are assigned to the Community Development Agency to the city's capital project account. The Mechanicville City Council authorizes the closure of those 4 accounts once the transfer has been completed. In addition, the Mechanicville City Council authorizes the closing of a city sewer account and transferring the balance into account of $6,864.86 to the general fund. I'll introduce.
Second it.
Mayor Baker.
Yes.
Commissioner Seaver, yes. Commissioner McGuire.
Yes.
All right, Barb.
We have 3 people. I'm going to read one resolution, but it's the same for all 3 people that we're going to hire to work at the playground. The first name is Samantha Salvador. The second person is Cassandra McMullen. And the third person is Noah Waldy. Whereas there is a vacancy for recreational leader for the summer youth program at the Park Avenue Playground in the city for the Public Safety Office. Whereas this position needs to be filled with a qualified individual. Whereas Samantha Salvador, Cassandra McMullen, and Noah Waldy have all the qualifications to fill this position. Therefore, be it resolved that Samantha Salvador, Cassandra McMullen, and Noah Waldy is hereby appointed to the position of recreational leader at an hourly rate of $12.10 per hour, 32.5 hours per week. Hours of work would be from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. with a half an hour lunch, Monday through Friday, and varying hours if working on a Saturday or Sunday. These appointments will be effective April 15th through August 31st. These positions, I want to add, have no benefits. Anybody that works at the playground does not get any benefits. And I put in April 15th for these 3 because we may need them to work at the playground before the summer program. So they will never work more than 32.5 hours. But I put those dates just in case we needed them.
2 of them are
July 1st.
They're July 1st.
Should I change it?
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, so Cassandra and Noah. Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm sorry, I did it wrong. So Cassandra and Samantha Salvador and Michael Labrosi, I'm sorry, I had these wrong, are the three that are gonna work from April 15th, or from, right, April 15th until August 31st, if we need them.
So the two Labrosis and Salvador are April 15th.
No, Michael Labrosi is different from Hannah Labrosi. Hannah's gonna work very limited.
Okay,
She's the one April 15th.
right.
Please don't comment from the audience.
Hannah is April 15th until August
Right.
31st, but she is very limited.
But Michael, you have April 15th also.
Right, because I need him to man the playground before the summer program.
Okay. So Hannah's gonna be July 1,
No,
April 15th. Okay, I'm sorry
she's
about
gonna be
that.
very
All
limited.
right, yeah, who's on first,
Working
right?
to man the playground
Okay,
during
that's
the
fine.
day.
Yep.
It's very confusing.
I just want to get the resolutions right. I don't care what you
All right. So Samantha is also, I might need her, but Michael's gonna work the whole time. So, all right, so, do you want me to read these individually? No,
Yeah.
okay. There's a vacancy, oh, we gotta
Gotta do
vote
them.
on these, right?
Yep.
Okay. I'm miscombobulated here.
With the understanding that the motion made and seconded and voted on is, there's 3 separate ones that you're handling in one motion.
Right,
Right.
okay, so for all three,
Mhm.
I'm gonna introduce it.
I'll second it.
Mayor Baker?
Yes.
Mark Seaver?
Yes,
And myself, yes, for all three.
I'll call you tomorrow so you get these straightened
All
out.
right. Okay, so whereas there's a vacancy for recreational leader for the summer youth program at the Park Avenue Playground in the city for the Public Safety Office, whereas this position needs to be filled with a qualified individual, whereas Hannah Labrosi has all the qualifications needed to fill this position, therefore be it resolved that Hannah Labrosi is hereby appointed to the position of recreational leader at an hourly rate of $12.10 per hour, up to 10 hours a week. Hours of work will vary from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. with a half an hour lunch Monday through Sunday. Her appointment will be effective April 15th, 2021 until August 31st, 2021. I'll introduce.
I'll second
Mayor Baker?
it. Yes.
Commissioner Seaver?
Yes,
And myself, yes. Okay.
I do have one question. You said they're till 4 o'clock, but you said the playground may be open.
No, well, for the summer program, they're only there till 4 o'clock.
Okay.
So by June or July, everything might change.
Right.
And we might not need somebody at the gate on Saturday and Sunday. And so I did some of them with a maximum amount of hours in case they had to fill in.
Okay.
But they will not, even though it's over 30 hours, they will not get any benefits.
Thank you.
So, the appointment of a clerk by the Commissioner of Public Safety is authorized pursuant to Section 11 of the City Code. And whereas the Commissioner of Public Safety has elected to appoint April Kiley Turner as office clerk, subject to the City Council's approval of the salary to be paid. It is hereby resolved that the salary of the office clerk shall be established at $12.10 per hour, effective April 15th, up to 18 hours a week, with no ending date and no other benefits. And this is for April to work here at the senior center.
That's what I was going to ask you.
So I'm going to introduce this.
I'll second it.
Mayor Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Seaver,
Yes,
myself, yes.
Is that it, Barb?
Yeah, that's it.
New business? Old business?
Don.
Oh, your new business, yeah. What?
Business. Mark, we were going to talk about the Cdbg public hearing.
Oh, yes, you were giving me some language. There are some, let me see if I can do this correctly. There is CDBG money available to do COVID-related work. To do that, we need to have a public hearing. We will be having a public hearing at our next council meeting, so we can move forward to grant applications on. Now, Don, you want to expand on that? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a new COVID relief funding program through Cdbg. You've heard me talk about Cdbg for other improvements. As Mark mentioned earlier about some of the COVID relief funds, some of the details are being worked out. But it believes through this program that the two things that would be eligible for facility improvements would be air circulation, mechanical improvements at city-owned buildings except City Hall. So it could be DPW, it could be the water plant, I believe it could be this building. So it could be mechanical improvements for air handling and emergency generators. So we're going to have a public hearing on that, and we want to solicit some input from the public, obviously talk to the Commissioner of Public Works, to understand the condition of the facilities. And we believe, similar to all the other CDBG programs, it would likely be no match, no loan for income.
So how come not City Hall?
They don't let
They
you.
are not allowing where local government
Huh?
resides to do their business, and I don't know why. I don't know why.
Written right in there.
So like the fire station could be, I believe, the DPW, I think DPW, the water plant.
Oh,
Senior
okay.
center.
Community center, senior center, those types of buildings, but not actually town halls, village halls, city halls, so. More to follow, hopefully, at public hearing.
So all of you agree to schedule that public hearing for the next meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Applications are due, first come, first served by, I believe, August 27th.
Need a motion on that one?
Technically.
Go ahead, Mark. Need a motion.
I need a motion to schedule a public hearing for potential CDBG funds for various mechanical work being done in various city buildings at our May, I think it's 10th council meeting. Need a second.
A second.
Any objections?
No.
Okay, old business? None?
Yeah, I just want to real quick, we were talking about some of this COVID money, that the feds are bringing. There's 20% matches to this money. So it's not like it's totally free money either. So if you're talking about large sums of money, you're talking about, large matches on these things as well. So I'm not talking about the $500,000 we might be getting. I'm talking about there's other monies available to infrastructure, things along those lines. If we pursue any of those, which we may, we'll have to see what's available. There is a match on not on the CDBG stuff, but on the money coming out of the COVID relief bill.
Okay. Can I have a motion to close the meeting?
I move.
You did?
Yep.
Barb, you want a second?
Yes.
Okay. At 7:11?
7-Eleven, Sunset Strip. Shows my age.
You're fine?